head of the military defense intelligence, General Ivashchenko, and we have on the third session you have all our Ruslan Stefanchuk, majority leader David Tarakamyan are known to you. Just to inform you that after this session is done to answer, and anything is super hard. You can ask these referendums regarding the elections, regarding the approvals, regarding the future. So then we will go by Q&A session. So, dear speaker.
And I'm happy that we are having so important our meeting here. First of all, I want to say thank you personally for all of you for your leadership, for your people, because it's very important. We are like it when believe me, as a Ukrainian parliament, we do everything the necessary for all of us together. We have a great communication with all, and that's very important for all of us. And once again, thank you, and I wanted to be the fullest.
David, maybe you want to say something.
Just quick words. Openly and honestly discuss tough issues.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen, first and foremost, I'll say the expressions of the utmost respect on our part for your leadership performance, the bravery of your people, and the current international media and intelligence agencies. So what is your assessment of the situation, the prospect?
Welcome to Ukraine. We would like to start with the words of gratitude and appreciation for your countries, for your people, for your leadership, for their support, comprehensive support of Ukraine. And we're thankful to you that you take your time to visit us after New Year's Eve. And I hope that 2026 will be the year of peace. So once again, welcome to all of you, and we will work on the prosperity package to ask all the questions that you may have. Take it. Report to the President, and this is the room where everybody is actually working. Again, we'd like to welcome everybody, saying what I already said to all the comprehensive assistance that you've been doing, politically, diplomatically. Once again, thank you for coming. We're a very emerging democracy, but at the same time demanding democracy, and it is super hard to solve. I will just go over the plan so that you could be all aware of the 20-point plan.
I am pleased to inform you that we have successfully launched the process our leaders planned. Namely, we brought together in Kyiv 18 participants from the foreign side, plus Ukraine. The first session of the meeting with national security advisors was devoted to going through the key documents. Except for the prosperity document, except for the economic document. The prosperity document will be considered at the second session, with the participation of Ukraine's Prime Minister Yulia Sviridenko, as well as the Minister of Economy Oleksiy Sobolev, who took direct part in the negotiations with foreign partners on preparing the prosperity document. So, as of today, we have a broad geography of national security advisors represented here. That is 15 foreign countries, plus international organizations. This is the European Union, the European Commission, the European Council, as well as NATO, the North Atlantic Alliance. We are ready to answer a couple of questions briefly.
Kristina Badinskik, newspaper, Il Foglio. Tell me please, you have just reviewed the 20-point plan, as I understand it, yes? And it was known that there were still disagreements on territories and the AFU. Is there a change after your consultations now?
Look, the first session was dedicated to ensuring that, in a relatively short time, with everyone who was ready to come to Kyiv, we could go through all the documents. This was not a negotiating session at the expert level. This was a session where the national security advisors closest to their leaders assessed the work that had been done and expressed their general positions. And don't forget that we have a very dynamic schedule, because as early as Tuesday in Paris the leaders of the coalition of the willing are supposed to meet. Therefore, the amount of information they received now needs to be digested in order to brief the leaders. And so that within 48 hours we all gather in Paris and give, I hope, political approval to the main key elements of the documents that we presented today for certain countries. Although they had been briefed, overall this was the first opportunity to see the full texts. So we should appreciate the discretion they need in order to process the entire amount of information.
But the important comment regarding your question is that the problem on territories, the ZPP, and these difficult issues is not with the Europeans and not even with the Americans. It is not the Americans who insist on certain ultimatum decisions that are unacceptable for Ukraine, the Russians insist on them. Accordingly, today's meeting with European partners, which is continuing now, was devoted to aligning positions with them. But we have no disagreements with them on how Ukraine can better protect its interests.
Let me say in advance, if anyone has questions, no one pressured Ukraine during this morning session.
There were a number of points in the plan that concern Europe and Ukraine. And those who read the entire plan in full for the first time today, what reaction did they have to the fact that most security guarantees are to be provided by Europeans, and also about Ukraine within the borders of the European Union?
Although I said that for some countries it was officially the first opportunity to see these texts holistically, that is, these texts in general. Let's not be naive, because both in Berlin and elsewhere, in Geneva, we also had sessions with Europeans, and 3 countries were present. These are Great Britain, France, and Germany. And of course, consultations are taking place within the European Union and NATO. So I have no doubt that they were in the process of consultations, firstly. And second, I want to reassure you that the documents are written, as of today, in a way that does not violate the foundations of the constitutional order and the sovereignty of Ukraine. And once again I want to say that, as was stated in Mar-a-Lago, some documents are 100% ready, some documents are 90% ready. And here the bigger issue will be how, within the tight timeframes we are dealing with, all countries that resolutely want to support us can go through their national procedures. And national procedures are a very complicated thing, because no one, neither Ukraine nor foreign partners, is going to violate their constitutional order or the principles of governance and parliamentarism that exist in their countries.
Given that security guarantees are an example of obligations European countries can provide, it's important to understand their document architecture. That is, there is a multilateral framework agreement on security guarantees for Ukraine. It will be signed by Ukraine, the US, European partners, and those non-European countries that wish to provide such guarantees, for example Canada, which is present today. This framework is what links how all guarantors interact with one another. Because everyone understands that the AFU are the first level of defense, that there are Europe-led multinational forces that will be deployed in Ukraine and will in one way or another be engaged in ensuring security in the air, at sea, and on land. There is the so-called American backstop that provides support to these multinational forces. And what is the work the military are doing about? It is about ensuring that the details of the military component are aligned both with the guarantees from the Americans, with whom a bilateral agreement has already been written, and with the guarantees from the Europeans.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Andriy, may I ask you about the military component? How agreed is it, and what does it include? The President said that, if we are talking about guarantees, then they are 100%. If that is the case, then what has been agreed in the guarantees? Perhaps you can tell us something about contingents?
In general, how is the process going and what work is being done on the documents? Indeed, bilateral work has been conducted with the USA. At the level of the general staffs, the military document was agreed. It contains 4 sections, 4 annexes. The President briefed on this. All these sections are about how Ukraine and the armed forces of Ukraine will be supported, how the armed forces will be supplied, their restoration and modernization, how compliance with the agreements will be monitored, how actions will be carried out, what the reactions will be if violations of the agreement are detected by either side, because this is a bilateral agreement. Right now, exactly the same work is being carried out with other partner countries, and one of the sections of the document is the activity of the coalition of the willing. Thank you.